Hey folks, how's it going? It's your host here, Velma Selledge, Life of a Veteran. Excuse me. I have a special guest today, Coach Nimo. I know Coach Nimo through Muay Thai. I did Muay Thai classes a couple years ago. Um, Sadly, like it's hard. Like pandemic is what happened, folks. Pandemic did a lot. Um, and here we are, and believe it or not, he's also a U.S. Marine, United States Marine Corps veteran, and we're just here to hear his story and to ask some questions. So, are you from Ohio? First off, Coach Nemo.
Yes. Born and raised in Cleveland.
Okay.
I did do a stint in Puerto Rico for 5 years when I was younger, but for the most part, I've always been in Ohio.
How was that?
It was from when I was 8 to 13. There's a little bit of growing pains there. We had to move there because my grandmother, her husband passed away, and she was by herself. So my mom said, "Let's go help her." I'm like, "Okay." I did a lot of fighting when I was out there because I was the gringo moving to Puerto Rico, so I was an outcast right off the bat. But it's fine. It wasn't perfect, and sometimes you just got to roll with the punches. Sometimes literally.
Right. Now, were you glad to be back in the States and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, this is honestly, we have so many opportunities in this country that a lot of people from other countries don't get to have, and that includes Puerto Rico. Um, we have so many freedoms here and so many opportunities to do the things that we want to do, and there's no other place I'd rather be to live.
Now, it seems like you have two big influences: is the United States Marine Corps and Muay Thai as well. Uh, Now, where should we start first?
That's up to you. I'm an open book.
What I mean, well, which one did you fall in love with first? Like, how did you find Muay Thai first, or did you find the Marine Corps first?
I found Muay Thai while I was in the Marine Corps. Um, there's a lot of gyms that are out in California where you can train at, and there's a lot of Marines that actually were involved in combat sports back then. And honestly, I feel like because of the way I am as I guess a warrior, I like to fight, and it's not because I have any anger or anything like that. I just crave combat. Some people, it's in their DNA that they just want to fight, and I felt like the best way to dispense pain was Muay Thai, and it's the spiritual background of Muay Thai is incredible too, because of where it came from.
Would you like to briefly go into some of that history?
Oh, of course, it was basically the Burmese had to come up with a way to defend themselves in a tournament, and Muay Thai is mainly the sport, is actually what it is. Is more is what it's commonly known. The art itself is called Muay Boran, and basically that's how the Burmese fought against the king of Thailand, and then it started getting adopted. And the king was so impressed with the way that they were fighting that they adopted that fighting style, and because of the brutality of it. And you got your elbows, you got your knees, you got your kicks, you got your punches, and in Myanmar, they have an extra weapon, which is their head. I don't recommend that martial art for anybody, but yeah, it was briefly. That's basically what it was. It was a way to fight a tournament for freedom back in gosh, I'm not even going to claim to know what time that was, but it was a long time ago. And like I said, I don't think there's any more practical martial art than Muay Thai / Muay Boran, because you don't really play Muay Thai or Muay Boran. You have to fight.
No, absolutely. So you're stationed on the West Coast, it sounds like. Now,
Yep.
got ahead of myself here, however. So, but you're from Ohio, which meant you went to boot camp here on the East Coast, right?
Paris Island.
And now were you you want I don't want to I don't remember or not if you were a MP.
Yes.
Okay. Now, would you like to talk a little bit about boot camp and MCT and maybe MOS school?
Sure. Boot camp was, and this might sound crazy to hear, it was actually the most fun I actually had in Marine Corps because I didn't have to worry about anything. I was told to do everything, and I looked at every day as a new challenge. And I even had to learn how to sort of like running, and I hate running. Like the thought of it makes me want to puke sometimes. But that's part of the things that you had to do in boot camp is you got to learn how to run. You get stronger in so many different ways, mentally, emotionally, and physically, due to the drill instructors, breaking you down and then building you back up the Marine Corps way. Because I wasn't exactly the most athletic or physically imposing or mentally imposing person before I went into boot camp, but I came out a little different. And like I said, that's kind of where I guess my mentality came from. Like, I don't sweat a lot of things. I mean, some things do get to me, but I always think things could always be worse for me or for anybody. And I've seen it. So, but yeah, boot camp was probably my favorite part of Marine Corps. MCT, that's where I fell in love with Mark 19. And I know you know what the Mark 19 is. It is something that probably shouldn't exist on this planet, but it's a real thing. And for anyone watching that doesn't know what that is, it is a machine gun that shoots grenades. So it can clear a lot of things out very quickly. But yeah, I mean, we learned how to be infantry for the most part in Marine Corps combat training, because not every Marine is the same. We all have to have that same background, even if you're going to be working in an office or in the field or in a tower. You all have to be a basic rifleman. And that's who we are. But we got I got more time to learn how to be part of a squad, a platoon, a fire team, all those things. And chain of command is where it became more apparent in MCT there. And that's something that we take very, very seriously as Marines, is everything's got to level. And then as far as my MOS school, that was at Fort McClellan, Alabama. It does not exist anymore, from what I understand. But that was fun. It was weird learning how to be a cop. And then there was a different part of it, which I had half my tour was being a PMO, which is a Provost Marshal's office, basically being a cop. And then the Field Marines when I was with first FSSG. And that was weird because we got to drive Hummers. We got to, lug around our crew served weapons with machine guns and all stuff like that. And then, we fell in like a platoon. It was actually, I was glad that I got that experience too, because a lot of people think MPs are literally just the cops, but MPs, they handle like enemy prisoner of war, route recon, convoy security. There's so many different things we do. And I was actually happy about that. Yep. That we do go out on patrols too. And I was literally just going to touch on that. The one firefight that I got into while I was deployed in Egypt is somebody in our command didn't communicate with somebody with Egyptian command. And we had two different patrols out there at the same time. And we didn't understand each other. So we started shooting at each other.
Yeah.
And thankfully, nobody got hurt. But that was one of the scariest things I've ever been experienced, because nobody communicated with each other. And that's what we're supposed to, because Egyptians are our allies. And we're out there, in their area patrolling, and they didn't know who we were. So that was fun, but it wasn't really. And then PMO. Oh, go ahead. What were you going to ask?
We'll touch more based on your deployments. However, for myself and for everyone listening, what years were you in?
From 1998, and I got out in 2002. So okay. I'm old.
Well,
I was in when we still had the non-digi camos that you had to iron.
of the tricolors.
Oh yeah. And it's funny because when those uniforms started rolling out, I was so confused because I didn't like them because, you know, part of being a Marine is you take pride in your appearance and how your uniform looks. And then with those newer ones, you didn't have to do anything to them. You didn't have to shine anything. You didn't have to iron anything. Just shake them out and then they're ready to go. It was really hard to accept those. What years were you in again?
I was in from 2010, 2013.
Okay. Yeah, so you're well into you had a digi and everything that uh, I mean it made life easier, granted, you know, and then when we started because when I got out, uh we had a legitimate wars getting ready to start. And we worrying about our uniform is probably the last thing we needed to worry about. So I guess that it was good timing, I guess.
What? So was Egypt your first deployment?
Yeah, Egypt. I got to go to Operation Bright Star a couple of times, and like I said, that first one was that was one of the scariest things I've ever done. And then we did Bright Star after 9/11, and that was we were on high alert the whole time for that one. That was kind of scary.
Were you part of a special unit or something like that, or
Nope, just first FSSG. When I was at PMO, I was at PMO for I think about a year and a half before I had to get out. And then I went over to Bright Star for the last 3 months, and then I got out.
what is Bright Star exactly?
It's a training exercise with coalition forces. So we got to meet soldiers and troops from all kinds of countries, obviously allied countries.
Right.
And it took place in Mubarak Military City in Egypt, which is, we call it the Dust Bowl.
The Dust Bowl.
Yeah, because it's literally nothing but dust. And even the hotels are not really hotels. They're just places that have electricity and and water.
So I mean, did you even enjoy Egypt, or was it? I mean, okay, was it even enjoyable, or like, could it be enjoyable where you were at Dust Bowl?
No. I mean, we tried different things to make it enjoyable. Like we played football games. Somebody brought a basketball hoop somehow. We had gyms there. I mean, they set up tents that we could go in and play Super Nintendo back then. Um, it was just it was miserable. Like it was a miserable situation. And yeah, I mean, we had one day where we got libo and we went to go to the those things are called the pyramid and the we got to
Pyramids
see
of
the
Giza,
Sphinx.
Giza.
Yep. Yeah, Giza, and then they're a lot dirtier than you would think. Yeah. I'm not even joking. Like when you see them in the movies, they look so clean and they look so pristine, but then you get up, you're like, yeah, this looks like somebody pissed on it. and
So it
then and
looks
then graffiti right afterwards.
really.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
People
But
like
you
people
know,
graffiti that like the pyramid. Of
oh yeah,
course.
this is the really real world we live in. So people are always going to disrespect. They're going to disrespect anything they can. And like it was weird when I go up there, and those blocks are gigantic. That's the one thing that is very impressive about the pyramids is the blocks are really big. They're as big as our living room. And I got to climb on top of one, and then I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And yeah, but I see the Mediterranean Sea. That was pretty. And then that's about it. I got to see downtown Cairo, and yeah, it's Egypt's pretty dirty. Like I think that's the best way I could put it. Like a lot of people think Egypt's this pretty thing that they see in the movies, but it's really not. It's very unclean.
Dirt,
but
like dirty as in like dust everywhere, or like trash, like or a combination.
trash. Yeah. Looks like San Francisco.
Never been. Afghanistan like had moments of trash everywhere though.
Yeah, I can imagine. But it's nothing like they're dealing with right now.
No, no, absolutely not. Is it-
I love that
So,
tapestry you got behind you.
oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I was literally like looking at my notes because because I was well, I was curious. Like, okay, I don't know if this is going to be like one of my fucking theme questions. You know what I mean? Just because like I mean, I was asking, well, it was like in September, I was asking everyone, you know, like pretty much like, where were you during like 9/11? And like, it's interesting to have someone who's actually pre 9/11, but it's not, but you're not that, you know what I mean? Like, where it's like, you, you know, like, so it's like you had like the, was it peacetime
Firsthand.
war? Like,
Yeah, we
like
were.
from peacetime to wartime, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And the transition, you know what I mean, and how was that transition for military police?
Well, like I said, I ended up being transitioned. We got put on high alert like immediately. It was actually kind of weird because oddly enough, 9/11 is my mother's birthday, and I was trying to call her that morning, and oh, I don't know if you see Oksana's face keeps on popping in.
Oh, okay, that's whose face was popping. Hello.
Yeah. But I was calling her, and in California, we're 3 hours behind, right? So um, I call her, and I had no idea what was going on. And she's already crying as I call her. I'm like, Mom, you're not getting that old. What the heck? And then next thing you know, I see a whole bunch of people running by, Marines just flying by over and over, like, hey, we gotta go. We could go meet in the common areas. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, Mom, I think I gotta go. I'll be right back. And I found out why she was crying is she thought we were gonna go to war. And I mean, lo and behold, we did because of what was going on with the towers. That was surreal. And then basically we got scrambled into action. We got put in high alert. And weird story because I was already getting ready to transition in, and they brought in the FSG Marines to back us up, the MPs. And then our provost marshal comes in. He's like, "What the hell are they doing here? They just worked a full shift. You're gonna make them work another 12 hours? I'd rather have them come home and fuck my mother." And I'm like, "Okay." And they're like, "Yeah, send them home. Bring them back tomorrow morning." Like, all right, Master Sergeant, you got it. And then yeah, we were just constantly like we were working 18-hour nights. So it was really bizarre. And then every car that came through the gate, because gate duty was like our main thing. We had so many extra Marines on the gates. And that was mainly it. We were just checking everybody like really, really, really strictly now. And they definitely told us to make sure we focus on people that we were familiar with too. So if you see somebody you definitely check them. And it felt weird to do that, but at the same time, I understood why they wanted it because that's what those guys did. They got close to you so that way they can do more damage. But yeah, it was a really weird transition to see everything's happy. We're practicing, fighting, and now we're gonna put our stuff into use. And then went to help set up Kandahar a little bit. We were doing a lot of patrols, and then we came back, and then I got sent back to Bright Star. And that was a little bit different because we were training them to get ready to fight. So they were taking a lot of cues from us. Like the Australian military was right next to us. The Irish military is right next to us. So, and we got to do a lot of joint exercises. And that was really weird. And then I had to get out of the Marine Corps because I had something else that was going on. So, and I had to make a very tough choice that I didn't want to make, but here I am.
How long were you in Kandahar?
Only a couple of weeks, just doing a lot of patrols to make sure they set everything up and get familiar with the area at all. We
So
had to come. Go ahead.
so pretty much you just had to I mean, so you just was it like a lot of perimeter patrols and whatnot?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. It was all perimeter patrols, and we made sure we maintained high visibility just to make sure. Like it was really weird to see how paranoid everybody was getting.
Were you attached to any, I mean, were you attached to a special unit or was this your unit that
It
sent
was
you
our
out?
unit got sent out there. Yeah, our unit got sent out there, and then we joined up with the Division Marines, which was really weird because Division MPs got a lot more dirty than we did. But they hooked us both together, and we were making sure we kept everybody safe.
So you were PMO the whole time then?
No, like I said, maybe like a year and a half.
Okay, I do apologize. I do say sorry a lot, folks, but it is what it is. However, at the time then you were full blown field marine because you were part of was that like the what's the actual name of your unit again? Because I've
That
never
was
heard.
first FSG. Well, I think it's called the BSSG. Like when we were getting ready to change, they changed it to the BSSG because it was the Force Service Support Group. I think is what it was called. It was stationed in Camp Pendleton,
Okay.
and they apparently it had a name before that too, so they constantly changed it. I don't know why, but yeah, we the first FSG was my unit specifically when I was not in PMO, and all we were is supply. It was so weird because like I had never heard of it. I thought I was just going to be doing like police work when I got enlisted, and then I get to MP school, like, oh yeah, you do this too. Hey, can I help you?
Is that your cat?
No, this is our dog.
You have a dog now?
Yep, we have a pit bull.
Awesome. You can't see it, folks. All you see is this awesome American flag and the EGA. Oh, what a ham.
Go live, mommy.
So after the patrols, you went back to Egypt for operation. It's called Operation Bright Star to work
Yep,
with
that's what it was called.
coalition forces.
Yep,
Were you
and we
actually
helped train. Go
you were
ahead, go ahead.
training them? Okay, that was my question. That you were if you were training them.
Yeah, we were teaching a lot of counterterrorism ops to, like I said, all the other allied forces, and yeah, it was weird, and it sucks because I had to make a choice because I would have stayed in, but I'm divorced now. I'm remarried, obviously, but I'm divorced and I have a son from that marriage, and that was the reason why I got out of the Marine Corps is because he was coming, and I had to make a choice
No, it's
just in case everybody was wondering. He just turned 18, by the way,
oh, congratulations.
so he's going to college.
Out in Nebraska.
Yep. I like how she says her memory's not that good.
It's really
There she
not.
goes.
I just know. I just remember like so like I mean I have no clue how you met your ex-wife and like how Nebraska came to be. However, I do remember certain things. Military police, Nebraska. Um, Never knew about California. I don't know for some weird reason I thought you were like you've been to Okinawa before.
No, that was like my dream station, and I never got to go.
You would and I mean the years you were technically in would have been like actually really nice. 90, but it wouldn't have been that bad. 98 to like was it 98 wouldn't have been bad at all if you're stationed in Okinawa. I
That's
think
what I kept hearing.
really.
Yeah, I kept hearing it was like the greatest duty station.
So Now, did you choose to go to like? So you didn't choose California, and did you?
Nope.
All right.
You're like,
So let's
you're
backtrack.
going where you're going.
Did you choose? Did you want to be a military police?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever become a
Figured.
cop when you got out?
No, a lot of things got me very, very apprehensive about being a cop when I got out. I heard about like people getting pulling people over for like routine stops and getting shot. And I'm like, I don't know if I can handle that
Right.
because putting my family in that constant state of I don't know if he's gonna be okay or not. I don't know if I could do that. So, and I honestly, ever since I got out, it's been a struggle trying to find a good career to stick with. I mean, I finally think I've gotten to that point, but it's taken a very long time to do it because honestly, I thought I was going to be retiring from the Marine Corps a couple of years ago.
So your transition's been a little bit, you'd say like a little bit hard for yourself. Just, I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, I would say harder than some because some people had a plan. They had a plan to do their 4 years and then get out and do something else. I wanted to be a Marine, but because of the situation, like a lot of people get into the Marine Corps, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this, but a lot of people come into the military Marine Corps for like school or some other reason. I joined the Marine Corps to defend the country, and that was all I ever wanted to do. And like I said, when that choice got taken away from me, it's it was definitely harder than most.
did you ever thought about like going back in at times?
I did, I did, but I missed the window. Like when after I turned 30, I was thinking about it really, really hard. And then I missed window and they're like, yeah, nope, gotta be 29 to come back in. I'm like, okay then. Because I wasn't gonna go to another branch or I couldn't do it.
What was how would you describe your transition out of Marine Corps?
A little eye-opening because you see, I mean, these days a lot of people are very more appreciative of veterans and stuff like that. But I'd say back in 2002 to maybe like 2008, that wasn't the case. Like a lot of people thought that I was broken mentally from being in the Marine Corps because that's what that came to be the expectation. And I can tell you this much: I have some issues, but they're not as bad as a lot of people have run into. Like I can't hear explosions because that was a problem. Had something go off next to me during that firefight, and I haven't been right since. So, but I mean, you have to earn skills if you're not going to make the Marine Corps your career. You have to develop other skills so that way you can use them outside. And I didn't because I didn't have that plan. I, I was going to be a Marine Corps for life guy, and that's now ended up what happened.
Hmm. Were you ever worried about getting recalled? Because I mean, that was during your time as well, too, during those years. So I mean, was that ever worried just because of your family and your son?
Yeah, yes, it was. It was definitely a worry. I mean, if my son was never a factor, granted, I would have never gotten out. But if my son wasn't a factor, I would have welcomed a recall easily. I would have been completely comfortable with it because I would have been able to go back to do what I wanted to do.
What years were the was it like 2008 or like what years were like the actual recall? And can you explain it a little bit better for myself?
I think it was all the way up till maybe like 2005. I think that's when it stopped as far as I was concerned. I don't know because I think I got taken out of the recall running once I hit to a certain age because I got out when I was 26 and yeah, so maybe more like 2006, and that's when I was done with it and I didn't have to worry about it anymore. But I don't even. It's funny because I didn't really know that there was a rampant recall. I think they had the numbers they needed for the most part when you factor in like active duty and reserves. But I never, yeah, I was never really worried about it, but I was expecting it, but it never happened.
Did you know anyone that was recalled?
Nope, I did not.
I- I've always actually wanted to legitimately talk and meet with someone and just curious about that one just because I mean it's crazy to think that people forget. You do 4 years, but then you have 4 years of inactive reserves,
Yep,
that everyone
people
forgets
forget.
about.
Yeah, people forget. It's funny because I wish I would have known somebody. I mean, hopefully, maybe while you're doing what you're doing, it'll reach somebody and they'll reach out to you and say, "Hey, yeah, I was recalled. Let's talk." That would be good because I mean, that's how these things go. They start spreading, and then next thing you know, you got somebody contacting you. Hey, I have my story.
No, now, do you want to talk about the firefight at all, or do you want me at is that
Um, like I said, it's the only thing that I have that's traumatic from it is, like I said, somebody threw a grenade and thankfully they missed. But yeah, it's basically two vehicles coming up on each other, and we start talking to each other, and they're speaking in Egyptian or I don't know what they're Farsi. Is that what it was supposed to be? Anyway, they're speaking in their language. They're speaking in ours. We don't have any interpreters, and they started opening fire. And we got behind our Humvee and we started returning fire, and it was really dark, and I think I almost peed my pants. I'm not gonna lie. I shot a couple of times, and guns are really really loud when you don't have your earplugs in. Um, and then finally they stopped shooting, and then we get something on the radio to cease fire ourselves. I remember being super angry because uh, our communications guys didn't they didn't pass the word to them that we were going to be out there too, and vice versa. Nobody communicated with anybody. We just went out there blind, and I think that it's human error, something that's really hard to get past because you can do everything right, but if you don't have those communications, things like this can happen. Thankfully, nobody got hurt. Thankfully, that grenade did not hurt anybody. It landed off a little bit to the side. So our Humvee took a little bit of shrapnel, but that's about it. I don't ever want anybody to live through something like that. So like if I could anybody that's in the military that's planning on going to the military, make sure you communicate because that could have easily been avoided because of that. Like I'm getting the sweats just thinking about that. That was a it was a rough thing because they weren't even our enemies. They were our friends, and we were shooting at them. I think there was, I'd say, about a 50-yard gap between us, give or take, and that's mainly why we had our problems. And it's just an open area when you pass the gates.
how old were you?
Let's see. For that one, I think I was 25. I was 25 back then because it was right before I turned 26 and right before I was going to get out.
Oh my goodness. I have a question. Um, did you guys start keeping interpreters after that incident?
We had an interpreter every patrol now. Like that's the one good thing is that everybody got to have an interpreter, and no casualties came out of it, thankfully. And yeah, it's funny because I came back in and I was screaming at my platoon sergeant, and he was he almost MJP'd me because I was being really, really disrespectful, and it was something that he had nothing to do with.
Thank you for sharing that. That just shows how important interpreters are.
Yes. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of them stuck back in Afghanistan right now that apparently don't want to come home. I'll touch on that later.
Would you? I mean, would you like to touch on that now?
Absolutely, because I think the way that the Afghanistan withdrawal was handled was terrible. And it's a simple logistics thing. Like you can't move out all your troops and then decide, yeah, now we'll get everybody else out. And that's where they went wrong. They took all of their military personnel, left all that gear, and then the Taliban took over in a matter of days. And too many people died in that particular situation. And it's funny because have you I think his name's Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller. Have you heard of him?
No.
He's the guy that he called out the Joint Chiefs of Staff about this whole situation because they're not being accountable for it, and they locked him up in the brig. And I understand that he broke protocol, but at the same time, nobody's addressing it. And he's saying exactly how I was feeling. You know, we let people die. We took out all of our military muscle, and it should not have happened that way. They should have gotten all those people out. They have all that. What's the cost on that gear? It's like what, $3 billion worth of gear that left out there that's getting sold on the black market now. I mean, how did that happen? I mean, this administration, like, again, I don't know how you felt about the last president. I didn't like the guy as a human being, but the things that he did were not this crazy. Like right now, what's going on, it's a dictatorship. It's a lot of missteps that could be easily fixed if you got the right people around you. And it's actually making me very scared for this country right now because, like I said, with Australia, with lockdowns and everything like that, the way they're behaving about all the vaccine mandates and the way they're behaving about the Taliban, just saying that they're acting like professionals out there, just I don't get any of that. And it's driving me crazy because I'm like, nobody's getting in this guy's ear and saying, hey, we shouldn't do that, or we shouldn't do that, or we shouldn't do that. They're just letting him basically be a loose cannon, and he's just doing whatever he wants, and it's not in the interest of the American people. And say what you want about any president on the planet, if they don't put the American people first, I'm not with them.
No, I do believe in that part. No, absolutely. And I'm not here to disagree with anyone. This is, you know what I mean? Like this is like your thoughts and whatnot. And I don't,
Yeah.
you know, like our last president, like all I gotta say is like he just cracked me up because he was just wild. You just never knew, like, you know what I mean, like what he was gonna tweet, you know. This
Yeah.
like this
He
one,
was,
I'm just worried he's just gonna pass out on us, you know, and like what, you know.
well, and here's the thing. I mean, I mean, I don't know how you feel. Well, I mean, I guess I kind of do know how, but if this guy goes, like if he disappears in one way or another, the vice president, the way she treated marijuana offenders as far as a lawmaker was incredible. Like and when I say incredible, I mean like in a bad way. Like she forged evidence. She kept people in prison for forced labor. These are people with minor drug possession crimes, like with marijuana and stuff like that. If she goes into office, I am so afraid of what's going to happen in this country because I'm just scared. Like I don't even know what happened to the United States because right now I just I don't remember a time where people are like, hey, you don't get to work if you don't get this vaccine. you're not allowed to work. Your career is over. I don't care what you say. I don't care what your feelings are. I don't care if it's freedom of choice. You take this vaccine or you don't get to have a livelihood. I never thought I'd see the day that we'd have something so tyrannical come out of the White House. Like I got the vaccine. Oksana got the vaccine, but she was very, very skeptical about it for a while. And she finally got it. But I wasn't like, hey, you need to go get it. It was like, hey, it's your choice. That's why I fought for this country. So you can have this choice. And that's how it should be. And now I just don't understand it, especially when you go by people that are vaccinated are still getting sick. They're still infecting people. They're still going to the hospital. So that's how I feel about it. I think there's a specific sect of people that are being affected by this virus more than others. And those are the ones we should worry about. But normal, everyday human beings like you and me, nah, I think we're good.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that. I'm vaccinated as well. However, it's like I just know it's like it's my choice, and that's what I just chose to do, just because I'm around elderly and all that stuff, or what you know what I mean,
Yeah.
because of the volunteering. So I I try to, I do that to be mindful and whatnot. However, I'm not going to. Someone has neurological problems and they can't give a vaccine, or it's not wise for them to give a
No.
vaccine. I'm you're not going to see me bringing down hellfire. I mean,
No.
I don't. I mean, and I'm not a super political person either. And one thing I will say is that I think I do need to get more political, because like as a person of color, you have no choice but to be political in a sense. You know what I mean? Because it's really, I don't know, like I just think sometimes it's not fair that like it feels like when you're a person of color, you only get to choose one party. It feels like, you know what I mean? It's like.
Hmm?
It's like the other parties, like you don't get to see, you know what I mean? Like it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like it's unfathomable, folks. You know what I mean? Like and like the thing is, like I'm about to blow some minds here, but I voted for Joe Jorgensen. You know what I mean?
I remember
You
her.
know,
Yes. I
like
wish she would have.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, motherfuckers, I guess that's my white privilege. That's me being half white over here. You know what I mean? I voted for Joe.
Well,
Like,
I'm not even half white, and I got called a white supremacist. I'm Puerto Rican. I got called a white supremacist because I'm like, he shot a taser at that guy, and that's why he shot him. That's not why. And like I was disagreeing with him, and therefore I'm that guy. And I'm like, I'm not white, right? Well, you're inherent white supremacy or something like that. I'm like, what does that even mean? So yeah, I think we've lost one thing that I think that we've lost in this country is the ability to see different sides of every argument and making it more of an argument than it needs to be. Like we don't have any type of intelligent discourse anymore. And that's something I miss. I could say, hey, the sky is blue. And then somebody would be like, well, I don't think it's blue. I think it's, the reason why it looks the way it does. And I'll sit there and listen. And I'm like, well, I don't really agree with you, but hey, it's cool. Now, when they say, no, you asshole, it's not blue, it's freaking green. And that's how I feel about it. So if you don't agree with me, you're a piece of shit. Then I don't have any respect for you anymore. But if we can sit down and talk and just have a difference of opinion without having to hate each other, I mean, this country would be such a better place now. But it seems like we just, for some reason, we got so tribal, if that makes any sense.
wait, can you say that last word? I think it cut out on my end.
We got so tribal
Yes.
in the
Yes.
way we think. There's a lot of tribalism. Like I don't watch mainstream news anymore. Um, and lately, the one person that's been making the most sense out of anybody, and I never thought I'd say this, is Bill Maher. Bill Maher is making more sense than anybody else out there right now. And it's funny because a lot of people think that I'm a Republican. I'm not. I'm not a Democrat, not a Republican. I go based on what policies, and I don't agree with everything the Democrats want. I don't agree with everything that the Republicans want. I I agree with what's fair, you know, and sometimes you'll say, hey, this is fair. And I'm like, that's not fair at all. Like there was a time like when I was in the Marine Corps, when I first got to first FSSG on I think about a month after I got there, people thought, yeah, people heard out that I like to fight. And they're like, well, you do any boxing? I'm like, hey, a little bit. And somebody called me out to box. And after that first time that we fought, somebody had two pairs of gloves and we just brought them out. And I'm like, what are we doing? Oh, we're boxing. I'm like, okay. And ever since then, Friday night fights was a thing. And as what it usually ended up people fighting, like somebody called me out every week, but other fights that we had is two people had a disagreement and they got really heated and they settled it that way. And then they were cool afterward. Don't you miss those days?
This is so. This is great that we did the grappling and whatnot.
Mhm.
Like in like so if there was like a like usually it was grappling like how I've never seen anyone pull out any gloves. Well, actually, no. Let me rephrase that. Yes, I have because I participated in Afghanistan. I lied. With a sergeant, I forget the sergeant's name, but like, never mind, folks. Like, disregard my last words. I'm a lying whore.
No, I think you're all right. You were a misremembering whore. How about that?
Yes, thank you. Yes, very. Was it? Yeah, forgot. Yeah, that's a sign for like forget. So yeah, I forget like so much. I actually So speaking of interpreters, that's what I go to school for. Is I'm learning sign language. So I'm so like the fact that you're talking about communication and whatnot is key. Now, one thing I was wondering, did the training changed at all? Like did the tempo change once 9/11 happened in a sense?
Oh
Like
yeah.
and was and technically you were in during the Clinton/Bush administration. So I mean like so you're there for some people. I can't believe some people think that Clinton wasn't impeached, and it's like, yes, the fuck he was.
Yes, he was. Because
Now, were
he
you a
was not
fan of
awesome
Bill
either.
Clinton? Because you were checking. I mean,
I didn't like Bill Clinton. I didn't. When I heard about how he treated people, and then I saw the pandering he was doing. Like I don't like being pandered to. I really don't. Like that's like an insult to my intelligence. I don't like being pandered to. Just tell me what your policies are and let's go. But he would, when he pandered to people that smoked weed, when he came out with his little saxophone, he's just trying to, show how cool he was. And in the background, he's, sexually harassing women and cheating on his wife over and over and over. His wife's covering for him. So what do you do with that? So I didn't like him. I didn't like him. I I didn't really like Bush either though.
how was Bush?
Junior.
Yes, how was W during yeah, how was W during the nice? I like it. Did W like I mean, I guess my question is like, do you before 9/11 when when W was president and whatnot, how was he as president before 9/11 and after 9/11?
It's weird. He stayed pretty much the same. Granted, he said, "Hey, we're gonna go fight." And that's where I had like a little bit more respect for him because legitimately, I always thought he was a buffoon. But when he said, "Hey, let's go fight," I'm like, "Let's go fight." And I respected him for that because a lot of other presidents. I mean, think about it. The one that came after him probably would have like, "Hey, we shouldn't be going to war." So the fact that he's like, "Oh, you want to pick a fight with us? We're the United States. We're gonna come kill you now." And that's the one thing. Like a lot of people think about Pearl Harbor and how bad of a day it was, and it was. Give me a second.
It's okay. Just don't die on us, please.
This is not that day, but Pearl Harbor, it was a tragic day, but it gave us a chance to show that we are a power as a country. Because what was our response to that? A lot of innocent people died. Don't get me wrong, but Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened, and next thing you know, the Battle of Midway happened, and Japan's like, you know what? We're sorry. That was such a bad idea, and we apologize. We're not going to screw with you guys ever again. And they have it. And that right there is, it's kind of disturbing to think that that's like an inspiring story for me, but it is, like, because that could be a completely different story. It could be, Pearl Harbor was attacked, a lot of innocent servicemen and women died, and we didn't do anything about it. You know what I mean? And that's what I've always loved about our country, is that if you punch us once, we're going to punch you back 3 times, and we might kick you in the balls. And
Well, how else were we supposed to, like, how else was the American like our military was supposed to respond to that, in a sense, you know what I mean? Being a powerhouse and whatnot, I think you have to set a precedence as well. And,
absolutely.
I mean, we've been in Japan. We've been in Japan since, after, I forget, World War II. I forget what agreement, but like they don't have a standing military. They have a self-defense force, but that's it,
Yes.
folks. Like they don't,
Yep.
like we're there to protect them, pretty much, because they done fucked up.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like
Yeah.
one of my favorite memes is December 7th is always gonna be known as the day that Japan ordered the hottest two-piece known to mankind.
Yeah, I mean, and it's honestly crazy to think, like what came about as well too. Just, I mean, I've never been to never been over to the sites over there, but however, that just, to me, that'd just be amazing to see, like, I mean, to go to Hiroshima and Nagasaki and whatnot, that would be eerie, to be honest. It really
Yes.
would be.
And
I mean,
it's funny because that's why I won't go to Okinawa, is because I could find a way to go see those sites.
and Okinawa's got its own hit, the Battle of Okinawa as well.
Yep.
So there's history, and and the thing is, people don't
And
realize
the Karate
that.
Kid was filmed there too.
What?
The Karate Kid 2 was filmed there too.
Yes, yeah. Mr. Miyagi's from Okinawa. He's Okinawan, and
Yep.
well, Okinawa wasn't even a part of Japan. It was Ryukyu Kingdom and whatnot. So
Yep.
technically, we accidentally gave like Okinawa to Japanese.
Yep.
Like, not think like with what I mean, we were just being, honestly, we were just being ignorant. That's what it boiled down to.
No, we won our
Like,
fight, and that's mainly what happened.
yeah, and then we gift the enemy an island. Like, okay,
Yeah, pretty much.
that makes no sense. I mean, that, like,
I would love to know the inner workings of that exchange.
you meant
But yeah, I mean,
clue.
I just, like I said, and that's the thing I think we're missing from this country. I'm glad that we are one of the most diverse countries on the planet. Actually, I mean, if we're really, really thinking about it, we are the most diverse country on the planet. Like, everybody's got like a little bit extra culture in their countries. We have everything here. We really do. We have so many different people here. But what we are also lacking, though, I think is the ability to say no, if you know what I mean. Like, a lot of people are doing and saying a lot of things right now, and nobody's telling them, hey, Nah, I don't think so. I don't agree with that at all. So no, don't do that. Like, look, I'm straight, but I think everybody should be themselves, be who they are. But that I feel like it shouldn't be pushed. Like I don't want to push my heterosexuality on a kid that's
Right.
5 years old, and I don't think you should be pushing masturbation and you know what's that homosexuality on a 5-year-old either.
No.
I feel like you
No, I mean,
should.
well, it depends. Well, like, okay, for example, if I'm on a date with my girlfriend or I'm just on a date with someone and like a kid and their parents walk by or something like that, and I know the kid and the parent, and they're just like, oh, is that your friend? I'd be like, no, that's my date. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly,
I would,
and that's how it should be.
I'd say no, like, no, this is my, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I understand, like, you're talking about like the cross dressers and the queens and all that, like reading the books or something. I mean, like the extremes.
Well, that part of me doesn't even care about that, but we're doing in schools now. Like there's this county in Virginia that's pushing this stuff like really hard in elementary schools, and I'm a big believer that you should let children have their innocence for as long as they're children. When they start getting older, then you start introducing different things to their life. But right now, let them be kids. Just let them be kids, because kids aren't being kids anymore. They're getting put into so many different things right now that are confusing them as they get older. And then they see, they're dependent on all kinds of medications to cope with. They're mutilating their body. They're just doing. I just let kids be kids. I used to think I was a freaking train when I was a little kid. I used to think I was Superman. I'm not Superman. And I had a mom that said, no, you're not Superman, son. I mean, I know you love him, but here, go wear the cape, go run around. It's cool.
Right.
And I still love Superman, but I know I can never be Superman because I'm not from Krypton. And that's the thing is, I was allowed to be a kid, but at the same time, I had a guide saying, just be a kid, just go have fun, do whatever. Somebody comes up, says they're a helicopter. I'm not gonna be like, yes, you are. Let's go get some blades, stick on your head, and let's do that. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. I don't agree with that by no means either. And
you know what I mean?
I think that gets ridiculous. However, like anyone that like identifies as like they them, like that doesn't bother me in a sense. Like where I just honestly I just kind of go with it. You know what I mean? Like where it's like
Exactly.
and like my whole thing is like I don't I hope people know like I don't push my homosexuality on anyone by no means. I hope like I actually like
What do
I
you gain
hope
by it?
do what?
What do you gain by doing something like that? You know what
Well,
I
I
mean?
don't know. Well, that's just not my personality too, in a sense. I don't know if it's like a, like that's just not like, what I mean? Like that's not, like I've never been one to like wave like even the American, like no offense, like I mean even like I'm just not like someone to even wave the American flag a lot, you know what I mean, or something like
Right.
that. So I mean like I'm not, I'm not super patriot, I'm not super patriotic, I'm not super gay, I'm just kind of medium, you know what I mean?
I
Like
like that.
like it's like a small medium, you know what I mean? Even though like I'm probably a large, but you know what I'm saying? Like, like
You just live your life.
yeah, and like, but like the thing is though, I'm not gonna lie, like the people that take it like a little bit crazy, I understand why they do it, like why they do that, just because like they had like probably some really negative like stuff going, like and some like negative stuff going that happened in their life, like they had some really bad experiences, and they're obviously going through some shit too. So they,
Yes.
they have like some traumas and whatnot that they're going through, and like and like I'm like the thing is I'm not flashy, like I'm and this isn't an argument either, folks. I mean, like I actually I'm agreeing with a lot of like like a lot of the things of like like let kids be kids, like however, if my girlfriend's like in public and I'm teaching kids or something like that, or I mean, like I'm not like a big like I'll hold my girl's hand in public, like I do, like I'll do that, you know what I mean, but like I'm not a big like kisser, and you know what I mean, like like straight couples do a lot of PDA and shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, but it's like, I'd like to hold my girl's hand. I'm not going to lie in public and, be okay with it.
But here's the thing. If you're teaching and she comes up and you kiss each other,
That's
that
inappropriate.
it can be, unless it's like, if it's like making out. But if you guys like give each other a quick little peck while you go back to work afterwards, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that,
No,
because normal couples do that. You guys are a normal couple. That's how it should be. But
I find
again,
it
holding your
unprofessional.
hands. Say what?
I said I find it unprofessional if you're working and someone like your partner kisses you, like whether you're straight
Okay.
or like whatever, like, but that's my personal thing where it's like I would honestly be like, I'd be embarrassed. I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, I'm trying to do something, like.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, like, yeah, I guess that's fair. Like, I saw somebody do that at work, because I work for Amazon now,
Oh,
and I
you
saw
don't
somebody
do.
do that. Got a job. I still train people on the side, by the way.
You do?
Yeah, my basement is a gym.
I didn't know that. I started.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll let you know. Well, no, like I know. I haven't trained I trained somewhere else for jujitsu and whatnot. So like
Where do you
I
train now?
actually North Coast Jiu-Jitsu, the Vanilla Gorilla.
Yeah, Nick. I was just gonna ask.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we talk
Nick
about
trains with
you.
me on occasion. Yeah, he trains with me on occasion.
And then I box over at West Angle Boxing Gym.
Okay, that's where Gideon is, right?
I don't know who Gideon is.
Ryan Gideon.
No, I no, it's like I like it there. Like not everyone, like everyone's just, like on their own program and shit, you know what I mean? And like the coaches float, but like it's definitely, yeah, start running more. My cardio,
Oh, pick up basketball.
like, oh yeah, that's what you do, don't you?
Yep. I missed today because I've been sick. Like, that's what the cost's been a problem with. I've been sick, so like I've been trying to make it a point to go back and start playing again, and again. And because I train people and then I work decently long hours, and sometimes I train people after those. So hitting the gym's not as easy as I'd like to. We're probably gonna try to hit the gym tomorrow morning, but yeah, I train in the basement, and I got mats. I got my Thai flag. I got my U.S. flag. I got a ton of equipment now, and yeah, I still love the art of Muay Boran, and I'm gonna start probably trying to write a book pretty soon about my method and how I train people, and try to share that with more people. See what happens. I'll send you a picture. I'll send
Awesome.
you a picture of the basement.
No, that was
Actually, I
actually
think I got videos of because I got two of my guys that were sparring each other. I got videos of that I can send you.
awesome. Yes, I have the same number. And I was gonna ask one of my last questions, like what some of a few questions I have left is oh, now it's just slipping through my fingertips. However, it's now you found Muay Thai and fighting, like while you're in Marine Corps. Now, did that help with your transition? Like, when did you start coaching and whatnot? How, like, does that help with your transition, still maintaining the warrior lifestyle?
Yes. So I didn't start training until I was about 31, believe it or not. Started training around 31. I had my first fight when I was 32. I got knocked out, by the way. I was beating the guy up for 2.5 rounds, and he landed a nice switch kick on right in my jaw. And I woke up looking at the ceiling. I'm like, oh, I guess I lost, huh? And then I had 7 more fights. I went 4-4, and then I started coaching specifically, say about 6 years ago. And picking up Muay Thai more seriously and getting more ingrained in the lifestyle has definitely helped because it scratches the itch when it needs to be scratched quite a bit. I'm a very competitive person. Um, you've seen me spar before, so you know I don't mess around.
Right.
Uh,
Yes.
I I like to compete no matter what, and that helps because like even you can turn anything into a competition. Like you can compete with yourself from the day prior on how you train somebody to improve them. So there's so many different things that you can do with it, and like I watch a lot of old school Muay Thai uh, uh, enthusiasts and fighters. Um, and I take things from them. Like one of my favorite guys is Raymond Deckers, who's a Dutch guy that went into Thailand and just ran through everybody for the most part. And the guy was a machine, and he was special. And then he got guys named Samart, Buakau, just a lot of different guys like Sanchai. I know people have heard of Sanchai, and he there's just so many different guys you can take something different from if you watch them long enough. And I'm a true student of the game, and I'm always trying to find different things to make work for my people.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. Do you have any save rounds before we end this? Any?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing I can tell everybody is, be better with each other. Don't have to, not everything has to have an emotional reaction. You can talk to each other without fighting. Find something that makes you happy. Use that thing to find an outlet, and just train some Muay Thai or jujitsu. I know
Yes.
Velma likes jujitsu, and she's really good at it because she subbed me once, and that wasn't cool. So
Stop. You're being kind.
no,
Um,
I'm actually not bad on the ground, but she got me pretty good. I was gurgling for a second. Wasn't cool.
y- you're being. Yeah, but you could literally pick me up too, like when we roll. Also, that's the funny part where like the big guys are like able to like just stop and like pick me up at late. Like so, it's like it's like
I look at it this way. I can, but what do you get out of that? What do I get out of that?
that's true.
That's the thing about, and that'll be my last save round. If you guys are in martial arts and you're part of a team, perform that way. Help each other. You're not anytime you're going to against each other in as far as drills or sparring, don't try to win. You're you can't win at sparring. You can the only thing that you should be getting out of it is making each other better. And that's the thing I can tell you right there. Now, if one of them disrespects you, you're allowed to go after them. That's how I feel about that.
It's very fair, very fair. And with that, folks, thank you so much, Coach Nemo.
You are very welcome. Semper Fidelis, Marine.
Semper
You enjoy
Fi.
the rest of your day.
You as well.
Take it easy.